Hi and welcome to another studio vlog. I'm doing a voiceover this time because I thought it'd be easier. This year, starting from the 1st of January, I set myself the challenge of drawing an image every single day for every day of 2020. And as you can see, I've done most of them on Procreate. There are 2 images that aren't on here. But I thought I would just walk you through some of the images that I've done. So we're currently on day 2 and the prompt was small. In January, the prompts were very, very random, nothing really matched. The first 2 images I actually did as a GIF as well, which was quite fun. But it wasn't sustainable to do that every single day. Some images were super, super quick, like the pencil there. Most what I do is I start off with a pencil brush and sort of trace an outline, and then I start working on the rest of it with it's a different pencil. I've forgotten what it's called, but it's from an illustration series that I got from Skillshare. I try to do lots of different types of illustration as well, so that I'm really pushing myself. And quite often I'd have split screen on and I'd have ideas for inspiration on the split screen. So the origami fox, I looked at pictures of origami and found an image like that, and then I turned it into as like an illustration. This little sheep, I was actually sat at my daughter's gym class, waiting for her to finish gym while I was drawing a sheep doing gym, because what else would you do with a sheep, So, like I said, I tried lots of different styles. So this is a really, really sketchy style. I didn't use any black outlines. Instead, all I did was use colour. This one hasn't really sort of come out very well, I'm afraid. There wasn't very much to see on the illustration side, so it was quite quick. I just thought of, Scooby-Doo for some reason. That was in my mind. This is my introverts box. I'd so like to be able to climb into a box sometimes. And so I called this my intro box. Will only come out for cake. So I was trying different techniques here, using directional brushes to make the cardboard effect. So I was quite pleased with that. Now this one I actually did before the challenge, but I liked it so much I wanted to put it in as one of my illustrations. For some reason I just had this requirement to draw a panda, no idea why, but there's a lovely brush in the new Procreate called Seagrass, and it creates this wonderful effect, so I just wanted to play around with that one really. So another really, really sketchy one. I think the prompt for this one was read, and I love the quote, "Get lost in a good book." I think that's brilliant. So I've used the sawgrass brush again to make this little blobby thing, so it's nice and soft and cuddly. And here's a summary of week 2. So starting on week 3, I think it was stick was the prompt. And one of my favourite jokes growing up was, "What's brown and sticky?" A stick. Okay, so on to cats. Cats are not my forte at all, but it's still quite cute. And you may notice that in the top corner now, I have started to label the prompts. I used to have an angle poise lamp just like that when I was little, so I've just noticed there's bits missing actually. Oh well. This is using a gold sparkle background that I actually got as a freebie, and actually taking away the foreground to reveal the background. Little mini washi tape, a little robot, very similar to a design I drew years ago to go on Story Stones. So another sketch. I love the way this one sort of develops and comes about. He's really rather cute. I think I'm going to have to put him on something else. I'm not sure what. So, summary of this week. As you can see, they are completely random. Like, this one was my first attempt at doing, well, it wasn't my first attempt. I suppose I just started off trying to do an animation, and I wanted the wording for this, the prompt for this one was round, and I just love the idea of a ballerina going around and around. So that's what that one was. But as a still picture, it's not particularly fun. The magic, I thought, wand, perfect. Who doesn't want a wand, eh? Oh, my word. Okay, so then we're on to time. I just drew a funky little clock using a colour palette that I got from a Skillshare course. Little dog. And that one I'm using an adjustable curve from the normal Procreate brush pack. This letterbox drove me mad because it looked like she had a mop cap for ages. Down was surprisingly difficult to do, and then I thought, a little boy stuck at the bottom of a seesaw. I really love that illustration. I'm so chuffed with it. Ice sculpture. I'm sure you can have other things other than swans, but for some reason that's all I could think of. It was quite hard to get the sort of glassy effect, but it was still quite fun, that one. So that's week 4 done, and now we're on to week 5, and this one is another one of my absolute favourites. It's called Cool, and I've done it again. I've done it in a sort of sketching pencil, and I used crayons to colour it, or digital crayons, not real crayons. Little bag. I had real problems with the background on this one. As you can see, I sort of messed around with it a little bit later on, but I really like the effect, the sort of Hessian bag and the little flowers, but I couldn't work out how to do a background, so I kind of abandoned it, really. This one I actually forgot to do on the day in question, the key. I think I did it about 4 days later because I'd completely forgotten it, but I'm rather pleased with that one. So we have just started on February, and the prompts for all of February were under the sea, and the fish, what I started off doing was creating, using the fish as masks, and sort of creating patterns around them. So day 2, it's day 33, but the 2nd of February, this one, was an octopus, and I was going for cute, and then, it is still cute, but I was going for a cutie kind of picture, and I rather liked all the little dots all over him. It made a difference. This is one of my favourites, actually, and you can see that I messed around with the background quite a lot for quite a while. But this one had quite a positive response on my Facebook page and my Instagram account. And when it was finished, it sort of had a really nice sort of feeling of depth about it. I think having the sort of speckled skin, you can sort of see them being added now, made such a difference. So, seaweed I thought was going to be the easiest thing, and actually I was sort of thinking, oh god, I don't like this, and I changed the saturation of the colours and things, but eventually got to something that I quite liked. The canvas I'm using for all of these images is 4 inch by 4 inch, so they're all at the same resolution. I didn't want to make them huge because I wanted to be able to share them quite easily, and also I didn't see the point in they were never going to be really big images. They were never going to need to be really big images because they are just sketches. I really regretted putting coral down as this one because I found it really difficult. But actually, it's a challenge. That's what it's meant to be. So, my little eel, it seemed so childish for quite a long time. And then once it got its backing on and the shining, it was rather quite nice. I spent a little while trying to work out the reflection of the sun. but this is done with a sort of watercolour effect. The sea is using watercolour brushes. Another one of my favourites. It seems my favourites seem to be these sort of sketchy ones. This little girl reminds me of my youngest, and she has a little red swimming costume with dots all over it, and that sort of inspired this one. But I just think it's really cute. I'm really chuffed with that one, and I think it would make a great storybook book, actually. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the story would be about, but you know. So, starfish, all I could think about was Maggie from The Simpsons, but obviously, couldn't really draw that. Well, I suppose I could have, but I didn't. But the little starfish jumping around would be quite cute. Mr. Crab, again, using, I think it's 6B pencil, and I was filling it in with an illustration brush, experimenting with the background again. Quite often some of these are just trying to find a style that I'm happy with. And I found that the images that didn't go right up to the edges were actually looked far better for me. But lobster, not done the lobster ever, I don't think. But there you go, there's my lobster. I think he'd look great on a story stone, actually, so I might use him for that. Clam, yeah, I looked up clam, and I thought, well, that's an oyster, isn't it? So I don't know if a clam and an oyster are the same sort of thing, because all the images I could see for clams look like oysters. So if you know the difference, please let me know. I'd be very grateful. My little Finding Nemo, and then, oh God, that day was so quick because I just had no time whatsoever. But hey, sketching doesn't have to take hours, does it? Anglerfish. I actually made the anglerfish look a little bit cuter than the actual real things because they're quite scary. Did you know that all anglerfish are female? The ones like that. Apparently, the male ones are about 1 millimetre or so big or something like that. Honestly, I was just, passing on info. Right, okay, Mermaid. She drove me potty. I had this sort of image that she would draw really beautifully, and the body was fine, the rock was fine, the hair was kind of not too bad, but could I get the face to look right at all? It just drove me absolutely berserk. So I ended up having her so that she was looking away. Oh, I meant to say the anemone, incidentally, I was using one of the luminescent new brushes as well from Procreate. So this is a little angelfish. Lots of colour. This is sort of how I would colour on real, in reality as opposed to digitally, and I would use a smudging stick to do the edges and stuff. And there were lots of really pretty colours in there, lots of lovely stripes. I was just really, really pleased with this and how it came out. It's quite hard sometimes when you're drawing on a tablet to actually get the effect of pencil. And when doing this, I really felt like I was really doing something in pencil, which was the first time that had sort of really, really happened. Right, so day 51, submarine. And I decided, because I'd already done a submarine in my deep illustration, I thought I would go for some sort of steampunk kind of effect. So there are holes on the tails, and the cords going from the tails go through the eyes and then go down into the front, and then they attach to the steering wheel. So I like the idea of when you turn the steering wheel, you turn one side of the fin or the other side of the fin to help you steer. I used quite a muted colour palette with this one as well, and I was quite pleased with how this one turned out. So now we're on to a whelk. I love drawing whelk shells. There's something so incredibly beautiful about the proportions of whelk shells. A little whale. I wasn't really sure how to colour the whale, but what I did was use a Gaussian blur. I think that's what it was, so that it would all smudge together like that. So this turtle, I'd actually drawn the turtle a while back as a gift, and what I did was I used it as an outline so that I could try a different technique using a blending brush. Treasure. Now, I felt a right idiot doing this one because I've drawn lots of treasure chests before now, and I absolutely hate filling them with treasure. So I was really regretting it, but I sort of found a way around it by making it look really gold inside. Jellyfish, I actually really love jellyfish. I find them fascinating, but I wanted to approach this with a real sketchy sort of cross-hatching effect on that one. I don't know why that said week 9 on it, because it wasn't week 9. I do apologise about that. That's going to really throw me now. I'm going to have to go back and check it. Anyway, right, so from this one onwards, I've started using the colours from my business. My business has a certain colour palette, and these are all colours that are found within my logo. This little shark, the prompt was shark. I googled lots of sharks, and when I saw a smiling shark, I thought, I've got to give that a go. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to draw it, to be honest. I mean, it's just, I really didn't think I'd pull it off, but I was so pleased with it. So pufferfish, I had a brilliant idea of using splashes and then decided I didn't like it at all. So I went for cute, and then I used the symmetry brush to do the daisies. And there we go. That's pretty much up to date. You can carry on with the challenge if you want to join in with the challenge. Just do hashtag 366 Sketchy Challenge and find me on Facebook or on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.